So hello and welcome to the 41st episode of the Spotlight Podcast, the unofficial podcast for Century 21 sales representatives in Canada, where we discuss the hot topics and important news in the real estate industry. So I'm your host, Linas Kilius, and with me as always is Eryn Richardson.
Hey Linus, how are you?
Pretty good, Eryn. How's it going? It's been a while since we've done this.
Yes, it's been probably been a month at least.
Yeah, we've taken a little bit of a summer vacation, I guess. We'll call it that anyways, but we're back and raring to go, and we've got a little bit to talk about today. We're going to be talking about multiple representation and how things have changed in the past, evolved over the past year, especially in Ontario with a bit of bad press that multiple representation has garnered over the past year or so.
Yeah.
But before that, maybe I should introduce you a little bit, because Eryn is a broker and general manager of Century 21 Heritage Group. Eryn has an extensive background in online marketing, technology, and customer service. And I'm the head of business development of the real estate marketing company Homeania. So speaking of multiple representation in provinces that still allow multiple representation is being examined with a fine-tooth comb. There's been a lot of negative press regarding sales representatives improperly respecting the boundaries between customers and clients in these scenarios. Changes to the rules restricting multiple representation are pretty much inevitable at this point. In Ontario specifically, they're close to becoming a reality. So on today's show, we're going to discuss the nature of multiple representation. That's such a mouthful of a word to say, and how the rules regarding it are about to change. Now, in the back half of the show, we've got a tip of the week, which is a new segment we're going to start doing. And on the tip of the week, we're going to be talking about how Century 21 awards have recently been presented and how to take advantage of online office and how to present your awards to your sphere of influence in the most optimal way. So, Eryn, multiple representation. Yes. It is something that is straight out something you can't do in many provinces, but Ontario, it's been allowed for, pretty much as long as real estate agents have been around. Yes. However, what's been going on recently and why are things about to change?
Well, I guess there was a media story about, I don't even know, it was about 6 or 8 months ago that came out, and they did a little sort of 2020 and uncovered some agents that were, I guess, taking advantage of situations to maybe better a double ending situation. And I guess it came to light that this could be happening more readily than we would have thought was happening in the industry. And when you double end a deal, of course, you're getting more commission. And if you're getting a buyer to come through you as the listing agent, that could be monetarily good for you, and you'd hope is good for your client is what's the most important thing. But I think that's the concern. Is it the best interest of the seller to have that offer accepted?
Yeah, that undercover footage definitely brought some things to light, and I'd like to think that most agents are properly respecting the boundaries between both sides of the multiple representation. However, some agents that were caught on video, and obviously the press got a hold of this since it was an undercover, kind of almost like sting operation, about how they were trying to manipulate both sides of the deal for their best interests and potentially, ignoring the best interests of their customer and client as well. Mm-hmm. So what exactly is going to be changing in Ontario now that we've talked about what the situation is?
The government wanted to really get a task force together, get some information, I guess, from all the different associations and realtors and public and everything, and come up with a clear solution. And I don't know if it's a solution, but a better guidelines and better systems in place in order to deal with this, to try to minimize it and trying to make sure that the customer is protected.
Yeah. So what specifically are they looking at too? Because they've got some ideas in place of the rules they're going to implement. Mm-hmm. Can you talk a bit about those?
Yeah, I mean, from a government standpoint, a RECO standpoint, a Real Estate Council of Ontario standpoint, they haven't really, I haven't seen anything released in terms of what they're considering. However, our association, Ontario Real Estate Association, has put together a task force as well and come up with some suggestions of what some things are being done in other provinces and other ways to protect the consumer, which include different types of representation and just higher penalties and looking at the, I guess giving their opinion on what could happen or what could be put forth.
So if you're in a multiple representation scenario right now in Ontario or other provinces, what things should you be doing to make sure you're covering yourself from getting into trouble, or just, ethically maintaining those boundaries that you should be maintaining?
As a realtor?
Yeah, as a realtor.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the biggest thing as a realtor is, and this is, I think the biggest issue is if you're going to take advantage of the system to try and double end a deal or whatnot, I don't think anything is going to be, we're going to be able to put anything in place that's any different that's going to stop this from happening. If somebody wants to take advantage of the system, people can take advantage of the system. So there are things that I would, definitely be inclined to suggest. But in terms of what we can do as realtors is disclosure. Make sure everybody is comfortable with the situation and explain the situation to both the seller and the buyer so they understand what they're going into. If you're a diligent real estate agent with the knowledge and expertise in order to do this, then nothing's ever going to, go wrong. It's a very straightforward process, and you're doing the best for your client, and you're making sure that anybody you're dealing with understands their representation and what their, liability is and who's negotiating for who. So as long as you're doing that, there won't be any problems. And typically there isn't. I think it's a very positive process for 98% of the transactions that we have. And we have statistics that we as a brokerage, we as a brand and as an industry have to show these customer statistics that everybody is very, very happy with the service they get 98% of the time. There are the few bad apples, and we have to look at those situations. But in general, I just think it's, if somebody's looking to take advantage of something, as of any industry, they can do it. I mean,
are there any specific ways that you think that things are going to go in terms of rules and restrictions regarding multiple representation? I think we talked off camera of a couple ideas that you were talking about.
Well, and AREA put forth two suggestions. One is called transactional representation, and that currently is being done in Nova Scotia and Alberta. And then there is designated representation, which is being done in BC, Manitoba, Alberta, and Nova Scotia. So I guess, the way that they've put forth it to us is, the difference, I guess, and I'll go into the differences between the two. First of all, designated representation is what we already practice within our brokerage, and many of the top brokerages in Ontario do this. And that is if you're in a multiple offer scenario, or you have, I'm going to give an example. Somebody comes through an open house, and you're hosting the open house as the listing agent, and they want to put an offer in on your property. They have options, and you are going to give them options. Current system is that you could actually go into multiple representation, which means you're representing as a brokerage both sides equally. Okay, and in that case, you have to stand back and let them sort of decide and negotiate on their own behalf. But it's fully disclosed that you're representing both equally. With designated representation, which we do in our brokerage, is we designate another agent within our brokerage to do the negotiations on behalf of one side. Okay, and that will make sure that an arm's length negotiation is happening. With transactional representation, which has been brought up, the consumer now has a choice to still deal with that one individual because maybe they had a great experience and they want me, Eryn Richardson, to look after them as well. Then they can actually be just dealt with on a transactional basis. So no negotiating, no playing sides or favorites or getting involved in the negotiation. So essentially, both of them are being acted as customers. So you're not going to be, from a legal standpoint, a client on both ends. So that's transactional. These are things that are being put forth by AREA and haven't been put in place, but there are different options out there.
Which way would you like to see it go if you had the option of the two?
I actually, whatever is decided, I think it comes down to what I said before. It doesn't really matter, to be honest with you. In the end, we just want to put, two minds together, come up with a negotiation, and there's their solution. As long as it's being, fully disclosed as who's representing who and who's negotiating on behalf of the other person, I think it's fine. Either way is fine. I actually think the system that we have now is fine, as long as everybody is being playing fair. It's, we're not trying to take advantage of the situation. But even with the suggestions that they're put forth, for example, with transactional representation or even designated representation, what stops me as a real estate agent from saying, yeah, my buddy who's also a real estate agent with our brokerage is going to represent one side, and of course, all you have to, I'm going to pay my buddy $500 to at the brokerage to put through this transaction and represent the other side, but I still double end the deal and I still leak information which I shouldn't do to one side or the other, or I can still act unethically. That's anything when we're dealing with people in general. You can be unethical. So choose your real estate agent, properly, and decide how you want to conduct your business.
Yeah, like you said, no matter what, there's always going to be loopholes or ways of getting around things if their intention is to act unethically. I guess this is in place to placate the public, but also make sure that it's a little bit harder, I guess, to take advantage of the situation and make sure that everything's a little bit more clear to the public as well as to what's going on. Is that a fair assessment?
It is. And in our industry, as of any industry, it's a service industry. And we want to provide the most professional service and the most knowledgeable service, but there's different levels of that. And consumers are important. It's important for consumers to decide how they want to conduct their business. And if they're doing it with a professional that has all the knowledge, you'll never run into these problems. If you deal with the shady people out there that are looking to take advantage of it, then they're looking to take advantage of it. We hope to bring in higher penalties and more investigations from a RICO standpoint. That's what my biggest suggestion to RICO, I think, would be less involved in terms of how we conduct our business, is to make sure that the people that are not conducting it in the most professional manner are identified and dealt with effectively.
And it's always unfortunate too, because I feel like the press and the public in general can latch on to the stories that are the negative ones. And it may be like, 1 in 100 or 1 in 1,000 realtors that are doing something nefarious, but then that's the one that everything latches onto and gets a lot of like noise made about it. And
unfortunately, yeah.
And unfortunately, that's the way things, can tend to work out with just the way that the media and everything works.
And like I said, I mean, if we have a program called Real Satisfied, and it gives us feedback and testimonials on everything that, and we have that across Canada now with Century 21, and that's going to allow better feedback to us as agents as how we can conduct ourselves better. But I mean, the feedback we've gotten at our brokerage, and we've been doing this for 30 years, actually asking for feedback, it's like a 98-99% satisfaction service. So we know we're providing the great service. We know that we're doing things ethically. Unfortunately, you just get a few bad apples.
Yeah. And you mentioned Real Satisfied and agent reviews. And I think over the next few years, those are going to become pretty popular. They're already popular in the States, where to the point where you're going to be able to look up any real estate agent and see what the reviews are and what they're like. I mean, obviously people can doctor the reviews and everything too, but you can see the bad reviews amongst the good ones, and you can definitely pick out your realtors a little bit easier that way. And you maintain accountability as well.
You had mentioned the doctoring. I mean, as long as you're using a review system that isn't doctored, and that's why we use Real Satisfied, is you can't. I mean, it is a good system that is only per transaction. We monitor the transactions to make sure that the reviews are generic review, or sorry, are real reviews. So, but like you said, you can get onto Google and get somebody to put whatever they want, and yes, you can doctor those ones. So it's going to be interesting to see how the review system going forward as they come out, gets the uptake. So.
Yeah, it reminds me when I go onto Google and look at restaurant reviews or on any of the popular review sites, and you see like the one review, it's a glowing review. You're like, I have a funny feeling that's probably the owner of the restaurant or whatever putting that in there. Whereas if there's like hundreds of reviews and they're generally pretty positive, you can tell that there's a good trend there. And I think agent reviews in general, like you said, as long as they're unmoderated too, will hold agents accountable and making sure that they have to keep a good public image online as well as just amongst their kind of like peers and stuff as well.
Sure.
So we've got a tip of the week as well. We kind of touched on it very briefly in the introduction there. So Eryn, Century 21 awards have recently been released. What awards are out and where can you find which awards you won? Because it sounds like a lot of people probably don't even know that they've
Yeah,
won
no,
awards.
it's important for people to know. Yeah, we have been seeing some posts come out for the awards, and we as a company are going to be sending out our congratulatories in a few days. So what's come out from Century 21 is the Pace Setter Awards, and those are the Gold Award and the Platinum Award. And what it is how far have you gotten this year, and what are you on pace for the end of the year? So the Master Silver is a great award at the end of the year for top producing agents, and that's your gold pace setter. And then you've got your platinum pace setter, which means you're on pace to hit your Centurion level, which is a top producer. I mean, they're so if you've got a platinum award, congratulations. You've got a gold award, congratulations. And of course, certificates are coming in, and we're going to get those out to the agents. But the question, I guess, is what do you do with these awards, and how can you best maximize the award that you got to let the consumer know what great service you're providing?
Yeah, so you can check this out on online office then to figure out what awards you won if you did miss, I guess, the notifications that you got these awards.
Yeah, so if you want to go into online office, you go into the resource center under awards and recognition, and they have the section there for what the criteria is, which is always good to know, but also the current awards. And Pacesetter will be in there. So you can see how you've done. They've also ranked, top 21 companies, top 21 agents, top 75 world awards, global awards, all that kind of stuff. So sift through those, and if you have any questions, of course, you can contact your office, of course, to find out where you sit. Yeah.
So let's say you pop in online office and you say, hey, I've actually got a couple of awards in there. What's the best way to take advantage of that without boasting too much?
Yeah, and I mean that's the key. I see it all the time on Facebook because I have a lot of real estate agents on my Facebook site that they post their own award, which is nothing wrong with posting an award you got and just saying how great you are, and then that's I think is effective. But if you boast a little too much, people say that's great, way to go, Eryn. But, let's talk a little more about yourself. But I think it's really just a tip would be to have your office post on your behalf, even if you do up your award to show what you got, maybe do a nice graphic or whatnot, and ask your office to post on your behalf, to put it on your site and congratulate you, and then you can thank maybe all your customers or your clients that you had this year for helping you get there. And that's a little more modest, and I think people take that a little more to heart.
Oh, for sure. It always looks better coming from somebody else. Just make sure it's not your mom or dad too, right?
Oh, I always like to get my mom in there.
Thanks, Mom. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we close off the show, Eryn?
I think this is the first time we've gone live on Facebook. So hi to everybody who's watching on Facebook. And I'd like to do a little more of this live Facebook stuff. It's quite fun.
Yeah, we're testing it out right now. For those that are listening just to the audio post it being live, we're going to try and do this regularly on Facebook Live. We haven't set a time yet, but we're going to have a regular time slot, hopefully, that we're going to be doing this. So keep posted for that. Anyways, thanks for, again, watching it. If you've been watching it live, everyone, thanks for listening. If you like the show, you can always subscribe to us on Stitcher, iTunes, Google Play, or wherever you find your podcast online for the audio version. And please don't forget to leave us a 5-star review on those sites because it actually really helps quite a bit. So you can watch this and past shows actually at spotlight.century21.ca/podcast. If you need to reach us, you can always email us anytime at podcast@homeania.com. That's podcast at HOM as in Mary, EAN as in Nancy, IA.com. So this podcast was brought to you by the Spotlight Marketing Program, an exclusive marketing package available only to Century 21 agents in Canada. Spotlight provides agents with a comprehensive internet marketing strategy for their listings. We provide high-quality HDR photography, stunning HD video tours, a cutting-edge responsive website, and an extensive advertising system that helps sell your listings faster, sell them for more money, impress your clients, and generate leads. Find out why so many top agents are using Spotlight by visiting spotlight.century21.ca today. Eryn, thanks again for hosting.
Thanks, Linas. Yes.
Everybody, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and have a great week.